Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I'm just going to be talking about my general thoughts on the early access of Skate, what I feel about the game, how I enjoy it so far, that sort of thing. And I'm just going to do some skating around and show off various parts of the game. Because I do have a lot of thoughts on this game. I've played it quite a while. I've put about 20 hours into it since launch, and I am enjoying myself. I do have to say that right off the bat. I did not expect it to be as enjoyable as it is. So, let's go ahead and start off with the negatives of the game. Probably the biggest negative for me is that it's an always online live service game with microtransactions, and the microtransactions that are in this game are absolutely egregious for how much they expect you to pay for some of this stuff. It is insane. I'm not someone who buys microtransactions, so I'm never going to give them $1 when it comes to some of these items. So, for instance, you can say the conversion rate generally is 100 V-Bucks or San Van bucks or whatever per $1. So $1 equals 100 V-Bucks. Now, if you do that conversion rate and you look at some of these items, they are so ridiculously overpriced. $3.50 for an in-game t-shirt. Who in their right mind is spending $3 for an in-game t-shirt? The Grim Reaper bundle is $27.50. Who the hell? I'm sorry, if you buy this, you have a problem. And you are not, like, financially responsible with your money. You could buy so many other things with that instead of silly cosmetics in a game. Like, I don't know, I don't play a lot of free-to-play games. So I don't know if this is like standard for free-to-play games when it comes to microtransactions. But like a Thrasher beanie for $3. What are we doing? $5 for a Thrasher hoodie. Like, this is so insane. $4 for a Thrasher board. Why? Now, outside of that, you do get in-game currency when you play the game, and you can buy these product boxes. You have a limited number that you can buy, and I'm assuming when you get all of them, you get all of the items that you can get in these boxes. At least I hope so. Otherwise, that's a whole other can of bullshit. But yeah, I am not a big fan of the monetization on this game. Like, to me, if I were to ever say, like, a price for an in-game shirt, it should be, like, 25 to 50 cents per shirt. You know, maybe $1 if it's something super rare. But fucking $3.50 for a green and white varsity jacket? Are you shitting me? Are you serious? A Dickies logo crop top for $5. $8 for denim overalls. And if you just count like all of this stuff, and of course it rotates so you get that FOMO going. If you counted how much it costs to buy everything in this game, I guarantee you it's hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. Like, I hate the live service business model. I hate the microtransaction business model. It is so predatory. It is so egregious. It is disgusting. And it's the worst thing about this game by far. And that goes for any game that has an in-game store like this. I don't care what game it is. It is terrible in every single game that it's in. I don't care if it's just cosmetic. It needs to be stopped. Like, this shit needs to be illegal. So, moving outside of that, that's the worst thing about this game. Next thing that I don't like is, of course, because it's always online, you sometimes get in the queue times where you have to wait in order to play the game. I think the longest I had to wait was about 10 minutes, and that was on launch day. Now, since the hype around the game has kind of slowed down and the people who just wanted to try it out once are gone, like, I really have no issues getting into the game now, and I am having a terrible time grinding. I don't even think I can ollie that high. But I don't like the always online requirement. I think it's silly that in order to just skate around and do tricks, that you have to be connected to the internet. That should not be a thing. And another reason why it's disappointing is eventually, of course, this game is going to go offline and you'll never be able to play it again. And next, let's go to like the third biggest thing that I just really don't like about this game, and that is the graphics. I really hate the way these character models look. They look like some kind of corporate thing you would find at, like, okay, I work at Walmart, for instance, and you have this VR training modules where they have these awful looking 3D character models, and that's what these remind me of. The art style in this game is absolutely atrocious. It looks awful. The environments themselves, like the texture work, looks so featureless and bland. It's not nearly detailed enough. And I'm like, okay, for skateboard culture, what do you think of when you see skateboarding? It's kind of grungy, dirty, like you're skating around New York City. And I don't know, I want a more realistic, if you're not going to go for realism, go for like over-the-top stylistic. And this is like a gray blob of both. Like it's half realistic and half stylistic, and it's just unappealing and unattractive. So those are my main criticisms for the game. Now there's a couple of things that are smaller, and I'm someone who does not need necessarily a story mode to enjoy playing a skateboarding game. I've put around, I want to say, 200 hours into session between console and PC, and I never did all of the story missions on that game. I put in hundreds of hours between console and PC on Skater XL, doing, mods and stuff and just skating around. So, to me, the reward in a skating game is the skating itself. And the skating here feels perfectly fine, but my issue is the missions that are here. They aren't really thought out very well, I don't think. So let me go and do a line challenge. In fact, I'll do this one. I have not done it before. And I will kind of go show you what I mean with how I dislike the way the mission challenges, some of them are set up in this game, are poorly designed. And it's the same issue that I have with the missions in Skater XL, where they give you a list of goals, but they don't really expect you to follow them exactly, or like they don't police you enough on like doing it in a way that's more, I don't know how to put it. You can cheese it essentially. And I feel like the difficulty curve, like so far, I mean, you can look at how much I've done. I have done all of the, I guess, story missions in Hedgemont, in Goldcrest Village, and Market Mile. Now I'm having to go back through these areas and do like a bunch of side activities, I guess, for padding's sake or whatever. And yeah, so far it's been way too easy. There's been a couple of really fun mission challenges where I had a little bit of trouble, but for the most part, I feel like the difficulty curve is just not there.
A line challenge. Quick.
So, we have collect all bearings, total attempt score, and grind the highlighted curved ledge. This is not really a good representation of what I am talking about when it comes to the like difficulty curve of the game. And that was awful on my part. So, they want me to grind the highlighted ledge. So let me go back here. There's the grind, and, that wasn't really a hard one. That was supposed to be an easy one.
We're talking the gnarly making progress. Way to rip.
That's another
I
thing
like
that's
how you
really
keep
annoying
pushing
too.
yourself to try new things, hit new spots.
If you're in the
One of
middle
great
of
things about skating,
this quest
variety
line,
and pushing boundaries.
you will get this voice
Progression never
line every
stops
time you do a mission.
Because skaters don't rest on their laurels.
It is
They
so
keep
annoying.
looking at the world and thinking, what's next? It's the thing that keeps skating fresh for old kooks like me.
This might be a better representative. Let me go over here and do this. This is also like just a score challenge, basically. You have 3 different types of missions. You have lines. The lines you have to do like so many things in order without getting off of your board. You have the spot challenges, on the spot, which is you have to do a very specific trick on something and hit all the, check marks. And then you have just the session stuff where you try to get a high score and they give you like a little bit of other objectives to do. But the times that they give you for these are way too generous. So let's try this one
Feel
real
like
quick.
a good and easy
3 minutes to get 5,000 score, 4 grinds, 1080 spin degrees, and yeah, caveman. Like, why? You do not need that much time. Maybe if you're like a beginner, you will. I get it. But if you're someone who is even... I'm not a good player. I'll say that. I'm not like, okay, I'm not the worst player out there, but I'm not a great player by any means. I did not put hundreds of hours into Skate 3 like a lot of people did. So, if I'm saying the score challenges are too easy, then they're probably too easy. And I get it, this is geared more for, like... This is geared more for people who probably never played Skate before. So I get wanting to skew it a little bit easier. But if you're going to do challenges, at least have, like, some difficulty for the people who are, the Skate diehards, essentially, I don't know. It's weird. That's another, like... It's more of a minor complaint of mine. I always fail at doing the caveman. I don't know why. I'm terrible at it. But yeah, I feel like the tricks and everything, you need to have challenges that are a lot harder than what I've been doing. The fact that I'm able to sit here and just talk for extended lengths of time without even trying, basically, and I'm terrible when I'm talking and playing. So, yeah. Yeah, the times are just a little too generous. Oh my god, I'm doing awful. There we go. So there's one more grind. And let's see if we can hit it again. No, I did not want to go in. There's one more grind. And let's see if we can get this last grind in. There we go. So yeah, I was able to just sit there and talk for an extended period of time. And still do that. Almost no problem. I admit I'm not the best at the game.
Welcome back to Goldcrest. Making progress.
Here we go
Way
with
to
this
rip.
again.
I like how you keep pushing yourself to
But
try new things.
I think I
new
made my
spots.
point when it comes to
It's one
the
of the great things about
missions
skating.
being a little too
Variety
easy.
and pushing boundaries. Progression never stops because skaters don't rest on their laurels. They keep looking at the world and thinking, what's next? It's the thing that keeps skating fresh for old kooks like me.
Okay, so another thing that's a negative, and I don't think it's as big of a negative as some people. I mean, I do think it's a big negative, but I guarantee you it's going to be fixed. And that is the fact that this game does not have all the tricks that were in Skate 3. Like, there's no underflips, there's no dart catches. You're missing a lot of the more technical tricks that were in Skate 3. This feels a lot more in line, like, trick-wise with Skate 1 and maybe Skate 2. I didn't play Skate 2 nearly as much as Skate 1. But yeah, I just feel like... Oh my god. There we go. But yeah, I feel like the trick variety is going to get better over time. This is an early access, so I guarantee you by the time they actually say it's 1.0, they're going to have all the tricks back in, hopefully. And hopefully more, like I want Primos and Caspers. So yeah, that's, again, for me, not as big of a negative, because I guarantee you it's going to be in there by the time they get to 1.0. So, yeah. And then just general stability of the game. Like, there are a lot of glitches and stuff in this game, and I get it. It's early access. It's a bit disappointing because it's been in development for so many years. And I guarantee you there was more work put into this than ever went into, like, Skate 1 and 2 somehow. And those games look and are much more polished than this is. Look better and are more polished than this is. But, yeah. Like, that's about it for the negatives. So now I'm going to go into the positive side of things. And right off the bat, I can say that the actual skating feels good. It feels really good. So I can just really get some cool tricks off. I do still have a lot of issues getting grinds locked in. I've always had that issue in skateboarding games, mind you. I can never seem to line it up right, especially in Session and Skater XL. I have to do so many attempts to get locked into a grind. Oh my god. So yeah, the skating feels really good. And, you know, I wouldn't say it feels as good as Skate 3, but obviously, again, this is in beta, and I think they're going to be adding in a lot more tricks, you know, covering all the bases, so to speak. So I expect it to get better over time, but for what's here, it feels really solid, and it's fun. So let me try to get another... Oh my god. I'm so bad at judging grind angles. Angles of approach for grinds. I've always had that issue. There we go. Let's see if we can... Yeah. Okay, so skating's pretty good. Another thing, and probably my favorite addition to this game, and to me, what sets it apart from Skate 3 and other games in the genre, is the parkour element of the game. So you have rolling around, you have these slides you can do, you have these dives you can do, and then you have the buildings where you have certain buildings that have like climbable areas where you can access, you know, rooftops and stuff, and adding that verticality to the game. So I'm going to go ahead and scale this building and show you what I mean. But adding the verticality to the game opens up so much more possibilities for finding cool spots and, you know, creating your own trick lines and stuff like that. It is by far the best addition that this game has to the skate formula. Even though it is kind of buggy sometimes. So yeah, like up here, this was already a little area. And you'll find these all over the map. Like literally everywhere. You'll go on a rooftop and find a really cool spot that the developers put in for you to skate on. So the verticality is great. The parkour moves of climbing, rolling, you know, diving and all that is really good. And oh my god, this is... There we go. So yeah. I would say that's my favorite addition to the skate formula. And now, as a consequence of that, what I went over in my video the other day is the glitches that result from this actually make the game 100 times more fun, and I hope they do not get removed. So what I went over in my video, this glitch right here, where you can gain some serious speed and air
Hey,
from...
you catch the show at the museum about the dinosaurs? I heard Izzy kickflipped the raptor bones, but no footy. I might have said clever girl, but without proof, I can't confirm her Jurassic tendencies.
Okay, before I was rudely interrupted by the character there. Yeah, there's a bunch of glitches you can do with the movement that is hilarious, and I hope it never gets removed. It makes the game so much more fun when you can do silly stuff like that. But yeah, just really cool movement tag, being able to jump and dive, and then let's see if I can get it down. You know, doing stuff like this to really traverse the environment a lot faster. It is so much fun. I have more fun doing that than I do with the skateboarding, honestly. So that's a big positive. Now, playing with friends is, of course, always going to be a positive in almost any game that you play. So, the multiplayer aspect of the game with all the different players, like, I don't necessarily feel like this game has enough to do as a multiplayer game necessarily. You don't have games of Skate, you don't have necessarily Hall of Meat. They do have missions where you do like stunts or whatever, but they are absolutely no replacement for Hall of Meat. You don't have, you know, downhill races. There is almost no downhill areas in this game. Like, the world is very flat in terms of the roads, unfortunately. So there's no, like, you know, bombing downhill or whatever. It feels very lifeless in terms of, like, the actual content when it comes to, like, missions and stuff like that. And the only thing you really can do in multiplayer is called a throwdown. And what a throwdown is you can set how many players you want to participate, the duration from 1 to 5 minutes, and then you can have, you know, everybody join or a party to join. And all it does is just, you set an area to do tricks in, whoever gets the most score wins. That's literally it when it comes to, like, you know, official game modes that you can do with friends. So that's severely lacking. The communication side of things is as well. You have these preset messages right here, these other preset messages, stickers, and emotes, and that's it. You can't, like, text chat, you can't voice chat. It is so bare bones, and that is something that I also hope they change. At least make it so that you can do proximity chat and, like, block people if you find them annoying. And maybe have it off by default and you have to turn it on or something. But there needs to be some kind of voice chat, because, you know, connecting with other players and actually talking to them is kind of impossible when you only have gestures, you know, this and this. It's not enough. But on the positive side of things, when you get into a crowded area and you see, like, you know, 50 players all attempting one obstacle, like doing the best trick on an obstacle, or 50 players pulling off different lines, it is really cool to see that while you're playing the game. Let me see if I can find a populated area. Normally this is because it's kind of the starting area of the game, so there'll be a lot of players over here doing stuff. And yeah, it's really fun just to watch players, you know, doing their tricks, building stuff together. That's the best part of the multiplayer. The object dropper, you can add in an object. You unlock some of these objects through, you know, getting the points from doing the missions and opening up the loot boxes. I don't know if you can actually buy obstacles with real money. I hope not. I hope they're all unlockable just from the in-game currency that you get. But you can place up to 5 obstacles yourself. But here's the cool thing. If you set it so that other people can move your obstacles, you can have potentially like multiple people work together to build some crazy contraption some crazy obstacle course to play together. And I did that with my friend Cody the other day. We built something out here, and there were probably 40 people trying to do this cool little like grinding thing that we set up. It was amazing. So yeah, that's one really positive aspect of the community playing this game. And I think I just had something weird. I don't know what just happened. Oh, my controller died. Let me grab this. There we go. So, and now the freaking sound is coming out of the speaker on the controller. I'll have to talk without hearing the in-game sounds, which is going to be a little bit distracting. Where was I? The community features, as far as like communicating with other people, are really lacking, and I hope that they add those in. The community features, as far as like stuff you can do officially with people, is lacking, and I hope they can add more stuff in for that, like games of Skate. But if you do find a good group of people and you're all trying to build like an obstacle and all hit an obstacle and do the coolest tricks, then it is a lot of fun. And you can really get some cool stuff going. So another thing that I dislike about the item dropper that I just talked about, though, is unless you specifically set it where other people can't mess with your objects, people can just pick up and move your objects, and I'll show you why that's a problem. So if I wanted to go in and add an object right here and build something, crazy, let's put like a ramp right here, and then I want to, say, add a rail on top of the ramp. And let's get even crazier and say that I want to add a toilet at the end of the rail, right? Nonsensical. You can play around with this and do some cool stuff, and there's no reason for it. I don't even know if I can make it up here. Let me try to make it up here and just grind to the toilet. So yeah, you can do crazy stuff like that, but the bad thing is if somebody comes in and moves your object, anything that's connected to that object is going to get deleted, unfortunately. And that was really frustrating, having built up something with other people, and some idiot comes along and decides that they want to move one object and it deletes everything. That's really frustrating. Another thing that you can run into, let's say you want to put down like a kicker ramp. So let's just say I want to put down a kicker right here, right? You're skating, pulling off your tricks off of the kicker, and somebody decides they want to be an asshole. So what they do is they go in and they'll go into their object dropper and just place a rail right in front of your kicker, and all of a sudden you're trying to do your trick and oh crap, I ran into a rail. That's something that can happen, and it has happened to me multiple times, where people just want to do something, be a dick, basically. And yeah, it was funny the first time, but it does get really annoying if people keep doing it. And the way you have to counteract that is, first you have to go up to the object, go into your object dropper. You can't do it to your own objects, of course, but what you'll be able to do is highlight that object, and it will say, like, I can't remember what the word is that they use for it, but it essentially makes the object transparent and you won't actually interact with the object. So yeah, that is a little bit of a problem. However, if you do set it to where other people can't move your stuff, then they just can't move your stuff, and you can do whatever you want. You can set it so that only you can move your stuff, you can set it so that anybody can move your stuff, or you can set it so that you and your friends can move your stuff. Anybody that's in your party, basically. So you do have quite a bit of control over that. I just wish that, like, for one, I wish you could place more objects. I understand why you can't, place like an unlimited number. It makes sense, and again, I suck at lining up grinds, but it makes sense why you can't place a ridiculous amount of objects, because the game server would crash if everybody could place down, you know, 20, 30, 40 objects and people just spam them everywhere. I understand why there's a limitation, but I do think 5 is a little bit too low. If there was 10, I think that's a little bit more reasonable. Because if you don't have friends to play with, then you are a little bit limited in what you can do with your objects because of that, you know, hard limit at 5 objects. So yeah, that's both the positive and the negative of the game. And let me think, is there anything else? I can't really comment on the soundtrack of the game because I play with the music off. I just play with my own playlist most of the time. So I can't really comment on that. I think that's about it. I kind of lost my train of thought there after that last point that I just made. But overall, what do I think of the open beta or whatever, early access of Skate? It's okay. If you have friends to play with and you like just doing really silly stuff like the glitches, then you'll have a lot of fun. If you have friends and you want to build like crazy obstacles, you'll have a lot of fun. If you just want a game to grind out some stuff, you'll have an enjoyable time for a little while. Oh yeah, another negative while I'm thinking about it. There is no interacting really with the NPCs. You can't hit them with your skateboard. You can't jump into them. You just phase right through them. They have like one animation that they, you know, move away from you. That's it. It's pretty disappointing because screwing around with the NPCs was always one of the more fun aspects of Skate 3. So not having that is a little disappointing. But yeah, overall, I think the game is just, it's fine. Right? It's not Skate 3. It's not as good as Skate 3. However, it's, for what it is, if you're somebody who's never played Skate before, you're just wanting a game to goof off with friends, you're going to have an okay time. I do wish that the microtransactions weren't as egregious. In fact, I wish they weren't there at all. I do wish there was no online requirement to just play by yourself. I hate the entire online-only mentality. The fact that this game has a shelf life, and if for some reason nobody wants to play it anymore because it is an always online game, it's just gone forever, you know. And I hate that it can update and break the most hilarious glitches. I'm still, like, on defense of whether I'm even going to keep playing the game if they remove some of those glitches. But I hate the nature of always online. I hate the nature of live service. It's just a business model that I despise. So while I do like what's here, kind of, again, it's a little bare bones. They do need to add more to it. Ultimately, it is just a sad reality that even if this game was perfect for the gameplay, let's say it had all the Skate 3 tricks and everything, the fact that if not enough people play it or whatever, it's just going to be gone forever. I don't know. Something about that just, it doesn't sit right with me. But overall, it's an okay time. I think it's worth a download at least to have some fun. Again, I played it for, 20-something hours in the few days that it's been out, and I've had a good time. So, it's not like it's a bad game when it comes to the gameplay. It's more the practices around it. Like I said, the graphics, the visual style is a little soulless. The fact that I heard that they used generative AI to do some of the deck graphics that you can buy is just a little bit insulting. There's stuff like that, it's typical live service stuff. Outside of the typical live service stuff, it's fine. It's not bad. It's not great. It's a lot of fun with friends. Don't get me wrong, it is a lot of fun with friends. But that can be said about almost any co-op game. If I'm looking at it based on just what's here at the moment, it's okay. I would say it feels less complete than Skate 1 did when it comes to like the amount of stuff to do. And that's kind of sad considering that Skate 1 came out in what, 2006? 2007? And yeah, I think that's about it. Like I said, I lost my train of thought earlier. I feel like I had something else to say, but this has gone on long enough. I'm sorry that my gameplay in this was terrible. I was so focused on talking that I haven't really, set up a line or whatever. There is one more thing that I want to comment on, is that this game does not chase realism at all. It is purely ridiculous, over-the-top spots. So if you're someone who wants to have like sim skating or whatever, you can do some realistic tricks on this game, don't get me wrong, but by and large they geared it more towards the people who play Skate 3 and do the ridiculous trick lining than like people who play Skater XL or Session and want to do more realistic looking lines or whatever. But yeah, that's about it. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video. Comment down below, let me know what you think of Skate. Are you a big fan of the series? I like Skate 1 and 3 a lot. I haven't played as much of 2. I'm just a big skateboarding game fan. I love Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Skater XL, Session, Skate. I like it all. Thrasher Skate and Destroy was amazing. So yeah, I knew I was going to give this a shot no matter what. And it's okay. I feel like with updates, it's going to get better, hopefully. But still, even if, like I said, they update it and it ends up being such an advanced, sandbox of all these cool different skate tricks, the unfortunate reality is it's going to be taken offline at some point and you'll never be able to play it again because it's a live service game. And I hate that. So, yeah, that's about it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.